Hello, hello, hello. It is that time again. I can't believe a week has already passed, but it is time for your Wellness Wednesday tip of the week. And today we are talking about irritable bowel syndrome, so gut health. And irritable bowel syndrome estimates approximately 10% of the population. I say approximately because those are only the people that actually seek treatment for it. So realistically, it's far more than that. If you're in my profession, you would understand that it's a lot more than that. It's most people that I work with have some kind of GI dysfunction or symptoms, even if they're not aware that they're symptoms. But nonetheless, irritable bowel syndrome is actually diagnosed based on symptoms alone, not necessarily clinical testing. It is a functional disorder, meaning there's no gross abnormalities associated with the intestines. There's no identifiable disease process. When I say based on symptoms alone, I mean specifically it uses the Rome 4 diagnostic criteria, which basically involves symptoms including constipation, diarrhea, alternating constipation and diarrhea, gas, bloating, GI pain. Those are some of the most common symptoms. And there's always a functional reason for it too. There's an underlying reason for all IBS symptoms. Some of the most common include food sensitivities. Gluten and dairy are huge for both of this, but other food sensitivities as well. There's gut dysbiosis, so an imbalance of the beneficial bacteria. And, a lot of the times everybody traditionally will tell you to take probiotics for IBS. And oftentimes this is a very helpful recommendation. Probiotics are one of those critical supplements or nutrients if you're getting it from fermented food even. We have 2 to 5 pounds of bacteria in our intestines, and they're critical to our health. However, research estimates that 50 to 85% of irritable bowel syndrome from constipation, diarrhea, or mixed is actually associated with a condition called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO for short. And what happens in this condition is bacteria that are normally supposed to reside predominantly in the colon, they start to migrate inappropriately to the small intestines. When they're there, they have a heyday on the food that we're eating. And just like you and I burp and fart, so do these bacteria. And they release hydrogen and methane gases that, because it's in the small intestines, it gets trapped. And it causes this bloating and distension and discomfort, and then affects the bowels lower down in the colon as well. Well, SIBO is the one condition where probiotics are actually contraindicated. So they can make it worse. It's essentially fueling the fire, right? So if you've ever taken a probiotic and it makes you more gassy or have more diarrhea or more constipation, basically aggravating whatever your symptoms are, then it could be an indication that it's SIBO. And in that case, do not take a probiotic and truly seek professional help, because it's going to take some kind of an antimicrobial regimen to get rid of it and rebalance it. Plus, you always have to address the underlying mechanisms that allowed it to express in the first place. Stomach acid problems, digestion absorption problems, things along those lines. So it can get a little bit more complicated, but the process can also be streamlined if you're working with someone that knows what they're doing. So I bring that to your awareness because, you might be one of the people listening that's like, I tried probiotics and they made me so much worse. Why does everybody recommend this? Or also, keep in mind too, again, food sensitivities. I've seen people on food sensitivity testing react to foods like broccoli, carrots, spinach, healthy foods. It really defines one man's food being another man's poison. So keep that in mind too. You could be eating a really healthy, clean diet and still reacting to certain foods that you would never guess. They're typically benign. But nonetheless, all of these factors